and wanted to show you again, guys, just what's making this little guy special and why they wanted to take this screen, which again was released on a seniors handheld, a handheld, you know, made for seniors. But besides that, man, this thing is just fun. And let me introduce the man who will become the next president of the... No, wait, that's not me, Deadheads. I'm not at the Republican National Convention. Hey, Deadheads, welcome back to the channel. Or welcome for the first time, new Deadheads. Today, we're going to take a look at this. I did get the Hot Dog Mini in. I've been playing with this thing. Boy, I went through a lot to get this thing set up just to share with you guys. But it's been a journey and a fun one, and I want to give you guys a look at this very unique form factor and see what you guys think. So make sure you leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about it in the channel. Please continue to share the channel with everybody. Share the good news about it and keep giving me that commentary and feedback so I can make this better. Anyways, let's get started. All right, Deadheads, as promised, here it is, the TLC T508N, a phone that was with a physical bottom with this Android top part screen that was marketed by China Telecom for elderly people, with the idea that this screen would be sort of magnified and have big things, but you had physical buttons for the elderly to use. The modding community in China, somebody realized this had a pretty darn decent CPU in it. It's got the Tiger 157, the Unisoc Tiger 157, which is, you know, remarkably performing at a level pretty high for this thing. So wanted to take a look at this, and so let's just take a review or look over this. And first thing I noticed upon picking this up, and I saw this in the pictures and videos, was that it doesn't have a true D-pad. Now that's kind of very disappointing that it doesn't have one, until you realize that the reason or thought process here is the fact that if you want to actually rotate this guy and have your screen width instead of the height, you can play games this way. So now you have a stick and you have your buttons here, which you can remap and play content this way that's going to look better that way than it will this way. Of course, in this form factor, like the Hot Dog, I call this the Mini Hot Dog, this is going to be very favorable for dual screen systems such as 2DS or 3DS, because you can split the screen in half and have it do that. Now, these are the Switch style sticks, and they feel really good. They're pretty typical clicky. Our buttons here have a nice travel distance. So not too bad right there. And then we have these buttons, remind me of the KT Pocket, because we have the two there and the two here, which can be assigned to like home, reset, back, and select and start. And they're pretty clicky. This thing, it rattles a bit. Now mostly that's these shoulder buttons, which I'll get to in a second. But yeah, there's some rattling sound around it. But this aluminum, I think it's aluminum, it is so nice. I don't know if you can see the sparkliness of it, but it's just really nice. I have a lot of metal handhelds, and I would have to say this is better than the Wind Chaser 2. I was a little disappointed in the metal of the Wind Chaser 2, but this is great. So I don't know exactly who put this together. There's even a lanyard hole here, but it's really good feeling premium metal here. Now these shoulder buttons, look at what they did here. It's really interesting how they have this kind of semi-stacked but not behind it, so creating more width. So this is very interesting. I'd like to see maybe more of this, but again, it's clicky. Very clicky and very loud, but it feels pretty good for it. So if you can hear that there. Then we have our volume rocker. We have a USB-C port, and we have our power button right there. Nothing on the side, okay, and nothing on the side. Oh, there is a button on the side here. Now, I still haven't figured out what this button is. If anybody knows what this might do, anybody out there, any Chinese or overseas viewers that could maybe know what this is, hit me up in the comments and let me know, because I'm not sure what it does. I know, like on the Snow Cake, it would turn it on from Bluetooth to turn the controller on, but it didn't seem to do that. So I don't know what that may be there for. But the other remarkable thing is we do have a camera here. And then this is the most disappointing thing of this handheld, I think, is that it has a single speaker that's backfiring right here. So, you know, the sound is just not the best. Now, I was initially very confused and disappointed because I was like, there's no SD card slot. Okay, what do you know, so this thing have a lot of memory. So once I got into this thing, it was in complete Chinese. I had to fiddle with this, guys. I didn't want to film all that, but I had to go through a lot of settings. I got Android into English, and then I ran into a lot of problems with setting up the Wi-Fi. It wouldn't change the launcher, so I had to use a launcher, but I finally was able to figure out from looking at a video of the phone that, guess what, it has a removable battery, and I thought, okay, this looks like this could come off, and this is really cool, guys. This pulls off, and look what they did here. They put a magnet there and a little magnet there to hold it in place. That's very clever. So again, for a metal handheld with a removable battery, take notice, guys. This is cool. This is it, just right there. It fits good. It seems to hold once you get it on there correctly. Because see, there is the two little slots here to lock it in at the bottom, and then it doesn't feel like it's going to come off. So I mean, very clever, very genius here system here. So underneath the battery, you do have. Not only do you have a micro SD slot, and this battery isn't all that easy to come out, but you have 2 SIM card slots, so this thing can still be used as a phone. And what is probably the most frustrating SD card slot that I have dealt with, this thing is, I don't know, maybe this is how they did it 10, 15 years ago. But you basically slide this forward and lift this lever up, and then you have to just place the SD card in there and get it in right. And then you have to gently like put it down and lock it in place. It is not easy to fool with. So changing SD cards on this is a big pain. You have to take the back off, remove the battery, then you got to deal with this little funky system right here. But I don't know. I'm curious to see if any of my SIM cards would work, but it does have dual SIM support here. So again, the metal even matches the color on the inside. So kudos to them for, you know, putting together a very clever, ingenious system here. It's not branded Ozone, and I haven't seen anything from anybody. So I think this may be yet another group out there making these modifications for it. But that's an overlook at the handheld. The weight is pretty good. It's not hefty. Again, you know, to kind of show you some comparison, I'll put the V10 up next to it so you can see what it looks like. And so, very similar in size, the Powkiddy V10 that just released. Again, very, very different screens, a more vertical focus screen here, and a more rectangular screen here, this 3:2 screen here. But yeah, there is like a size comparison to give you ideas of sort of what we're dealing with the size as far as this mini hot dog, as I'm calling it, for it. But let's fire this thing up and give you a look here at the system. And so it does load saying TCL One Touch. Now TCL makes pretty good TVs too. I'm not real familiar with their phones. I don't know here in America, do they make phones or ship them here? Not sure. But yeah, here is it loading up into Android 13. This thing only has 3 gigs of RAM, but it's still pretty nice. And so I would say that, you know, 3 gigs of RAM, a Unisoc T 157. This is very similar to your Retroid Pocket 2S as far as, you know, that has 3 gigs for the base model. You can get the 4 gig model as well for that. But here, this is Nova Launcher. This is not the launcher it shipped with. It was all in Chinese. But I was able to finally get it into Nova Launcher and switch it. This thing is set up in a very particular way with the size. of it, and so you can see that the screen is really, again, aimed at people who are elderly, whose sight and vision is maybe not that great. But again, for what we're using this for, it's pretty neat. Now, I did have this installed to help manage if you want to change it and then start using it like this. So, or you can go back to the regular one. So they did have this software. Again, I don't read any of this. I've just been playing around with it. This right here, I figured out finally, is the home button. Don't really know what this does. Also, over here, these buttons aren't really doing anything. Now I can't even get the keyboard to come up. So again, I'm still having some issues here dealing with this software. If I could throw a custom Android build on this thing, then it would be so much better, because I could actually navigate through this. But you can see that it is a Bluetooth controller, so it's not OTG, it is Bluetooth, because I had to turn the Bluetooth on. And we can go into settings here, and I can show you guys what it shows. They've disabled a lot of the settings here. There's stuff that I can't get into, I'm normally used to getting to. But if we go here, it's the TCL, the T508N, again, the dual SIM slots, and 3 gigs of RAM, running Android 13. And then it has the Unisoc T157 CPU, and it's hardware revision v2.3. I can't figure out how to get gesture control. It doesn't have the buttons, it has this, so that's another thing. It doesn't, I'm used to using gesture or whatever to go backwards, but it's not in there. So again, this is a very sort of locked down system, I think, that they have in place here. So I have a lot more to do to get this set up. But anyways, let's hop into some games and let's take a look at what this thing can do. So after much trial and tribulation, I finally was able to get the controls set up to play properly, holding it sideways. One of the things that's really cool about this handheld is the fact that they gave thought into, if you want to play this and hold it sideways, you're able to. So that's really neat that is something that was sort of given thought to. But it is going to take a lot of setting up to do this, to get this in where you need it to be. And so I'll just play a little bit of Game Boy Advance here, and you can see that I have the controls. Now, it's not perfect. Of course, playing sideways here is not going to give you ideal controls, but look at this screen, this 3:2 screen, and just how beautiful this is. I have this set up with a 3x shader, along with this at a 3:2 resolution, and it just looks fantastic here on this screen. Just really nice. Now, of course, granted, this is a very niche handheld, one that's made custom only in China and was never really intended, or has not been intended, like the Snowcake, for overseas audiences. But what I'm hoping is that by showcasing this and getting this out, other people will see this and maybe decide to try to do something like this. After all, the way that we got the unicorn was because of the success of Powkitty's RGB30 and the Snowcake, which started it all. So, hopefully, if we're lucky enough, we will get something like this. But this is just Game Boy Advance playing through RetroArch, having it sideways. As I showed you earlier, you can play this up and down like this with this screen, which is going to be more favorable for your Nintendo DS and 3DS. But if you want to go into RetroArch and you want to play those lower level games, you can set this up. You're going to have to modify all the controls and get this set up so that it's, where you want it to be. All right, as we play some Bonk's Revenge here on the Game Boy, using this Super Game Boy Enhanced. Just want to show you guys that again, when we play this sideways on this little handheld, this just looks fantastic. It just looks really, really good. It's running at that 1-to-1 ratio, but it has the border around it, and I do have this scaling at 3:2. And man, just what a beautiful screen, what a beautiful looking game we got here. Bonk looks crazy there, doesn't he? But yeah, just again showing you the power of this as I bonk my way through this, of being able to do these little settings, and certainly rotating the screen. This is what the Sugar Cube should have been doing. I don't know if the Sugar Cube, the screen they picked, but it should have been more like this, where it was a true rotation. Because again, if we're going to play Nintendo DS or 3DS, then we're going to hold it like this, and it's going to be perfect for that split screen. We want to go into older RetroArch 4.3 content or 1.1 content, and we're going to play like this, and it's going to look a lot better. And again, this is just a really nice shell. This shell they made is just fantastic, guys. I'm really impressed with it. I want to find out more about if this, I don't think it's ozone because it's not marked like that. So I want to find out who actually did this, because this guy is awesome. This shell is just really, really impressive. All right, so here we are in Drastic. I've loaded up some Mario Kart, and wanted to show you again, guys, just what's making this little guy special and why they wanted to take this screen, which again was released on a seniors handheld, a handheld, you know, made for seniors. But look at this, it just has a really nice ratio here for the split screen. And with this CPU, this Unisoc T157, which seems to be very, very capable. I've got this running at all maximum settings on Drastic on Android 13. So again, just looks fantastic. It's playing great. Go ahead and switch over here to the analog, because it's more comfortable holding this with analog. And with these unique shoulder buttons that they have here, I really like how they did those as well. This is a really good, almost pocketable, yet has these sticks sticking out and it has these sticking out. But besides that, man, this thing is just fun. It's fun, it's really cool to use, and I'm really glad to pick this up. And again, this thing was going in China. They were shipping these things out. Now they were custom made, but shipping these out for about $120. So we're talking about the same cost, or a little bit less than what the Unicorn was shipping for. And you're getting a premium metal shell and a smaller form factor than a Unicorn. And of course, a different CPU, which is not going to perform nearly as good. But man, this thing, as you've seen, is very capable. And next I'm going to show you guys some 3DS. Because yes, I got 3DS up and running on this Unisoc T157, so it's pretty darn impressive. But anyways, guys, you know, it's pretty easy. You can all what you're used to, changing the view here with Drastic, all the things you're used to using here in Android is going to apply here, and just really, really nice and comfortable to hold this thing. Just really feels good to hold this and play, you know, Nintendo DS. And of course you could play on the original DS or, you know, 3DS, but this thing is going to upscale. It's going to have shaders, and that resolution is just going to look great. All right, let's jump over and let's look at some 3DS. All right, as I load up some Citra here and some new Super Mario Brothers 2, again, this thing is running some 3DS. Now this is at 1X. I don't have anything upscaled or anything like that, but again, for what has been put into a elderly focused budget phone in China, you have a Unisoc CPU here that's managing 3DS. It's not going to play the full, but you can see it's 60 frames per second. It's not going to play the full catalog, I don't think. I got to do more testing, but I'm really interested in this CPU, and I'm also wanting to show this off. So hopefully, if anybody out there is working in the field or has contacts, guys, they need to take a look at this CPU, because you're probably going to be able to get this really cheap, and maybe we can get some under $100 handhelds going here. That's going to be more favorable than what we're seeing with the Unisoc. I'm sorry, with the G99. The T618 and the T820, those are great CPUs, but they're not coming in at a cheap price. I think that this CPU is probably something Unisoc would be willing to sell. But you can see here, man, it's just playing good. It's playing 3DS great. In a minute, I'll load up some Kirby, because it even played Kirby, which was a little surprising to me that it could do this. So it doesn't feel warm. I don't feel any heat. Again, as I mentioned when I first examined this, the speaker, the backfiring speaker, that's a little bit of a disappointment here. But we're talking about a $120 handheld that they got out here. And of course, Pal Kitty, you don't have to put this in metal. You could throw this thing like the RGB30, throw it in a shell like that, and get this thing out at $80, $90. And just really improve the software for rotating the screen. But you can see, pretty nice looking favorable screen here, and we can shift it around like that pretty easily. But yeah, very, very happy with this. Let me pull up some Kirby for you guys though, and show you what that looks like. All right, here's some Kirby Triple Deluxe. This game I've used on some other emulators, and it's always a pretty good test because it's, I think, probably a little bit more challenging to run. But I was really shocked that we were able to get a halfway decent run of this. It's not running at full speed here. We're at 1x. So you would really want to consider this to be bonus. But again, just look at that. It looks great. It looks fantastic on the screen. And if more manufacturers can pay attention to this CPU, being that it's Unisoc, it's going to have more support. I mean, Amronic and Retroid have already really went down the Unisoc path. So Retroid, if you're listening, take a look at this chipset. Although I know you guys want to just go higher and higher, but we need some more under $100 that can do a good amount. Right now, Retroid, your Pocket 2S with the Unisoc T310. I don't know if this CPU is better than the 310. That actually would be a very interesting comparison to find out. So I'll look and see if I can get any information. This is the T157, but maybe the 310 is still more powerful. I don't know. But yeah, look at this, guys. It's playing some Kirby here. And we're getting mostly 60 frames per second. Again, I wouldn't push this, not this game anyways, too much further on that. Oh, I should have taken his ability. But what a perfect match. I'll take his ability instead. What a perfect match we got going on here. Pink Kirby and this pink Letou, or little one, using the TLC phone. All right, let's take it on to some more footage. All right, Deadheads, so as I wrap this first impressions and initial review look at this very unique, custom-made handheld being sold over in China, what do you guys think? Do you guys like this content? Do you like seeing this sort of stuff on the channel, or do you prefer me to do a whole lot more of the more mainstream stuff? Leave me a comment and let me know if this is kind of stuff that you like seeing. Again, I want this to be just, a really fun channel for us and grow the community here. I appreciate every one of you and what you guys are contributing to us, to our success here. We're getting so close to hitting the 1,000 mark subscribers, so that'll be really awesome to go over that 1,000 mark in just a little under 7 months since I've been running this channel. But look here, we got some really good looking Dead or Alive. This is another game that doesn't always play great, but the CPU is handling it, man. It's handling it pretty good. I don't remember, and if anybody out there has anything, I don't remember if Retroid Pocket 2S, how it does on 3DS. Again, I'm really curious if this Unisoc T157 is actually going to outdo the 310. I don't know which one is newer. But anyways, guys, stay safe out there. I hope you have a great week and hope you enjoyed this content. And we'll see you again with the next content. Dead Fred out.